G'day, and now here's part 2 of Isabelle of France. And days went by with Isabelle's rehearsals, and then the day started, and I can guarantee Isabelle really made her mother and father really light up. And yes, it was great to see Isabelle performing her role as Diamond Jim's daughter. And this was a tremendous night. Everyone sitting in the showground on a warm Sunday afternoon, and after the play was over, the man who played Diamond Jim invited cast and crew and guests and relatives to his house as his wife was putting on a great garden tea party. And a great supply of sandwiches and tea and scones and heaps of lollies, and Isabelle and all these other kids loved the table, as well as everyone there gave a toast to what a great night at the theatre. And then after that was over, Isabelle's father went back to war, while Isabelle's mother was really having a hard time battling with no husband and the loss of her youngest daughter Harriet. And without meaning to, she snapped at Isabelle, making her pack a bag and run away from home. She said things like this: "Would you fucking leave me alone, you bloody stinking little daughter? I'll fucking do ya!" Or something similar to that. And at that moment, this seemed like the right thing to do. And Isabelle was worried that her mother was too crazy for what she wanted the world to be like, because Lord knows why she used really bad language, like "fuck you, fucking daughter," so Isabelle had no chance to do so, but it took about 3 weeks of this before her decision to leave her family. And there is no way known to man that she is going to be treated like an adult or a really wild animal. No, Isabelle's mother was treating her like a really wild animal who can't seem to get herself out of bed. And then Isabelle's dad came to meet Isabelle's mum, and he was saying, "Why can't you learn to control your blasted temper? Because now I have to leave the army and mend your problems. And life is hard. Life is hard." And they searched through streets far and wide and narrow, not knowing that Isabelle was in a dangerous spot. And to keep safe, she was taken in by a wealthy spiritual god who named herself the God of Power, which means that she has powers to do anything she wants to do. And Isabelle told her tragic life story of her sister being dead and her mother being crazy, and it's because of her blaming me of all her problems, and it made me run away from home. And then this God of Power said, "Let me draw your portrait, and I can guarantee that will make you feel happy." And Isabelle said, "Okay." but I might look ugly for you. But the God of power said to Isabel, nobody really looks ugly in this world, and I can make you look so laid back you will never be able to imagine why anyone can actually draw a person holding a suffering, homeless, drawing a person like this. And yes, while outside the wall was really getting weird as a man with a rifle was holding a suffering homeless man as his hostage, and then this noise was really deafening the street, and the God of power came out and said, "You leave him alone, you boy. You leave him alone. You fucking little cunt face." Mind you, the swearing sounded worse in the old days because there was no real way to rid it from your system. But in general, this man needed to be stopped. But he pointed his rifle at Isabel and then grabbed Isabel by the mouth and then kidnapped her, taking her around France. Mind you, in war, there is no such thing as a non-war people. If you did crime in these times and in these areas of Britain and France, you see this man stripped Isabel down to her underpants. Oh yeah, you should not worry, mate. Just be happy and keep away from people like this terrible man with a gun. And Isabel was taken down to a very dusty dungeon where this man had chains on her arms and legs and a very heavy chain around her neck, so she will suffer so badly. And the God of power met up with Isabel's parents because she wanted to tell them that she witnessed her being kidnapped by a man with a gun. But both her mum and dad were devastated. And the God of power felt it wasn't the right time to show from the portrait, show them the portrait, as Isabel's father was the sort of man who loved the life of a vigilante and went out on a quest to find his daughter's kidnapper. And mind you, he ended up being arrested for taking the law into his own hands. And then, surprise, surprise, he met this unusual guy who, because of the God of power on the time she visited him with Isabella's mother, said, "He is the man who has your daughter." And then they said, "Are you sure?" And she said, they don't call me the God of power for nothing, mate." And at dinner time, Isabel's father got a knife, and while this man was in the middle of eating, Isabel's dad stabbed his daughter's kidnapper straight in the heart, and he was dead in an instant. And Isabel's dad had to get 5,000 lashings. And mind you, this hurt. And the God of power became friends with Isabella's mother and her father, and they saw the portrait of her daughter, and the God of power said, "I will look out for you and your entire family through this life and eternity. And in the year 1327, when Isabel was 19 years of age, she was ready, really weak, from these chains weighing her down. Isabel was run ragged through her tragic last year of her life, and with her kidnapper dead, nobody knows where she was. So she felt safe, and she was still, yes, she wasn't nourished, but the God of power brought Isabel to her next life and let her old suffering body to be there with ants and maggots chewing on her flesh. And Isabel's mum and dad had a memorial for Isabel where they put her portrait in front of the chapel, and they sorted out all her short stories to read at her memorial. Mind you, Isabel might be still alive, but the God of power said, you can't dwell in what you had. You must think about what you might have soon. This war, hopefully, won't go that long. And all I am here to save people from other people. And Isabel screamed and screamed in the dungeon, getting weaker and weaker as we speak. And the screaming was getting softer. And also, her family had a great Memorial Day at the funeral. Mind you, with the way my head is, there is a chance that Isabel is still in that dungeon, because I read they are always finding human bones and fragments, and Isabel's bones were one of them. And in her family's lifetime, her body wasn't in the coffin, only because she wasn't dead at that time. The end. And also, yes, I am Isabella of France. And I was starting to remember those days in that time. Okay, catch you later. Bye.